It is now 12 hours 17 in Guyana with your main newscast for today. I'm Kevin Smith. A group of 23 women and 2 men have issued a letter to the press calling on the government and other aligned actors to cease their vile attacks against activists, journalists, non-governmental organizations, and human rights defenders who are doing their part to represent the interests of vulnerable groups. The concerned Guyanese were keen to note that over the past month, they have observed verbal attacks, denigrating comments, erroneous accusations, name-calling, and threats against journalists, NGOs, environmental activists, and human rights defenders mushroomed. They posited that such actions have originated from several sources, including senior government members, individuals who appear to be paid or unpaid advisors, social media personalities, columnists, and anonymous Facebook page operators. They said a quick count identified at least 10 to 12 such attacks over the past few months. Furthermore, the citizens said there appears to be a deliberately orchestrated campaign on the part of the state to silence and isolate those who ask reasonable questions and those who dare to express an opinion, contrary to the powers that be. The advocates for transparency and accountability also called on Volker Turk, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, whose duty and mandate are to promote, protect, and ensure the right to freedom of expression, including media freedom, and the rights of journalists and media workers, to take note of all violations against journalists in Guyana. The Bank of Guyana disclosed yesterday that the Natural Resource Fund for the first quarter of 2023 saw inflows amounting to $45.7 billion, comprising profit oil, $33.7 billion, and royalties, $12 billion. The financial institution said lower levels of profit oil and royalties were recorded for this quarter in comparison to $105.8 billion Ghana dollars and $13.9 billion respectively for the previous quarter. Those funds were deposited into the Natural Resource Fund account held at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Since its inception, the fund has accounted for $408.9 billion from 24 lifts of profit oil and $57.9 billion from royalties. With today, April 20th, being the 13th anniversary of the tragic BP Macondo well blowout, international lawyer Melinda Janke has proffered a critical question for citizens to ponder. What would the government of Guyana do if, God forbid, there was a blowout? In her letter to the media yesterday, Janke recalled that the Macondo blowout is what had caused the Deepwater Horizon rig to explode, leading to the death of 11 persons and the extermination of millions of animals. The disaster also destroyed the livelihoods of thousands of people. She highlighted in her missive also that BP, a technologically savvy oil company, took 8 to 7 days to cap the well. She further noted that the response effort included the United States Coast Guard, Louisiana National Guard troops, the U.S. EPA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, other federal agencies, private contractors, and volunteers. Nevertheless, Janke said over 3 million barrels of oil polluted over 40,000 square miles of ocean and 1,000 miles of coastland. And in other news, detectives on Wednesday found the skeletal remains suspected to be that of missing policeman Constable Quincy Lewis after 2 paid gunmen reportedly confessed to killing him and burying his body in a shallow grave along the Soosdijk-Linden Highway. Lewis mysteriously disappeared almost 3 years ago on June 19, 2020. The 2 men yesterday led police to skeletal remains buried at the Madawini sandpit area. Police will now send the remains overseas for DNA testing to confirm that they belong to Lewis. The 2 men were allegedly paid by a couple, a man and his wife, to murder Lewis and then bury his body. The cop was allegedly involved in a romantic relationship with the wife. The couple has since fled the jurisdiction. The police, however, is committed to using all legal avenues to extradite the couple back to Guyana. The couple has been identified as 56-year-old Thakur Dial Samaru and Youssef Zahid, also known as Zakiba Zahid Zafarali, age unknown. And just before we head to a short break, let's tell you the Guyana Press Association has condemned what it termed the most dastardly and pathetic expletive-laced attack on Guyana Chronicle reporter Miss Tamika Garnett by a senior political operative of APNU and PNCR. According to a GPA release based on Miss Garnett's account, a recording of which has been provided to the executive of the GPA, the APNU Chief Scrutineer Carl Joseph used indecent language in rejecting the request by her for information. The GPA said it is now apparent that the transgression against the media by the PPP and the PNCR APNU is the one common feature both political parties share, the GPA said, and called on Mr. Aubrey Norton, who is the PNCR leader, chairman of APNU and Guyana's opposition leader, to publicly apologize to Ms. Garnett and issue a commitment that his party would not subject members to the media to such acrimonious and indecent outbursts by any of his members or supporters, more so at the senior level. The media body said failure to do so would certainly make him complicit at minimum. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio, and this is your news at noon. We'll return shortly after the break.
You don't have to be a fountain of knowledge to help children with their schoolwork while they're at home, but you do have to be caring, understanding, loving, and patient. It's an unsettling time for everyone, but children still need a safe and secure environment. So don't overwhelm them with endless news items or problems. Keep them gainfully occupied and amused, exercised and rested. Protect our children. A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
On Sunday, 7th May, Everest Cricket Club, Georgetown. He is coming for the first time. Direct from India, Abhijit. Abhijit, live in concert. For info, call 592-628-6582, 592-661-5990. For the first time, playback singer Abhijit, live in concert on Sunday, 7th May at Everest Cricket Club, Georgetown. Powered by the Massive Tank.
Welcome back. With approximately $218 million already expended on the rehabilitation of the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall, the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport is looking to spend an estimated $90.5 million more to continue another set of works on the building. The ministry is seeking to execute plumbing installation works, sealing of vents and vented walls, and to complete the works at the northern faces of the building. The ministry's engineer estimated that the plumbing works at the sporting facility would cost $9 million. The ceiling work is estimated at $14.9 million, and the completion of the northern faces is estimated at $66.6 million. With a magistrate court located at Diamond on the east bank of Demerara, the Supreme Court of Judicature is looking to construct another one at Friendship to the tune of $418.2 million, according to its engineer's estimate. This was revealed during Tuesday's opening of tenders, where it was disclosed that 9 contracting firms have applied for the contract. And the Attorney General's Chambers has issued a warning to bar owners, operators, and the public of the provisions of the Intoxicating Liquor Licensing Act of 2022. The warning comes even as the government of Guyana continues to be concerned with the senseless deaths on our roadways, which many times are attributed to drunk driving. Under the Act, license holders are mandated to impose obligations on drivers at their establishments and are required to play a more active role in the prevention of drinking and driving. The principal objectives of the Amendment Act are to, among other things, create a mechanism for license holders to be more accountable by imposing obligations that require them to play a more active role in the prevention of drinking and driving. And the Oil and Gas Governance Network has issued a written appeal to the nation's 24 women parliamentarians, urging that they condemn all attacks against journalists here. The call by the civil society group comes on the heels of recent attacks against the president of the Guyana Press Association, Nazima Raghubir, and Kaieteur News senior journalist Davina Bagat. Both women were the subjects of despicable social media attacks by a Facebook page with known links to the current administration. In the letter addressed to the officials, the group was keen to point out that women members of parliament make up 37% of the policy leaders in the House and represent all political party positions, beliefs, and values of the Guyanese society. Given the position and power women MPs hold, the group asked that they offer solidarity and support to their counterparts in media who are being subjected to a torrent of male denigration, abuse, and vitriol on social media. And now let's tell you, in excess of $10 million in medical equipment and supplies were on Monday handed over by the 18th Chinese Medical Brigade. Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgil received the equipment on behalf of the government at a simple ceremony at Linden Hospital Complex. The minister said the donation speaks to the prosperous relationship between Guyana and the People's Republic of China, as the partnership has seen a number of advancements in Guyana's economy. He said the government has also been paying keen attention to the state of the medical facilities in Region 10. With the time now moving on to 12 hours 29 in Guyana, we wrap things up by turning the pages of today's Kaieteur News, dedicated to being blunt. Big boom box, small squeaky sounds. President Ali is talking about business for families from oil. The president is dealing in pebbles, but dodging the boulders. The PPP government says no to ring fencing and no to taxes. That is where the big business and the real money is, Excellency. Please stop fencing with shadows for scraps. Please focus on things with much substance, with big benefits for Guyanese. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Here is rigmarole Nancy story Jagdeo giving Guyanese.